Okay, this is Ken Yeager with the West Virginia Department of Education. This video is going to deal with what you can find with the under the Explorer mode. There are two operating modes to the Continuum Cyberstation software. One is the pinpoint, which is the graphics and the things that you typically a normal user uses. The other mode is the Explorer mode. The Explorer mode is the nuts and bolts of the programs of the software. It's where you configure the programs, the points, add controllers, and it's where typically the vendor sets everything up. It's non-proprietary, and you can get in there and you can monkey with it all you want to. You do have to be careful, because if you make the wrong choices in there, you can goof things up. So I'm going to show you what you can see in that area, and what just so you know what it is. And a typical user should use that quite a bit, just for diagnostics and stuff. To get to there, basically you're going to be in the pinpoint area at first. You want to go to the Explorer mode. It's going to be this this little icon like this. If you don't find it in the lower left corner, you'll find it under all programs, under the Continuum folder, and it'll be Continuum Explorer. That's what you want. So you'll bring that up, and that is the nuts and bolts of the system. To the left is the tree, similar to what you have as a Windows tree on your computer. The root is the root directory, and it has everything under that. The next one down is your network folder. You can see the little network sign under there. If you have any backnet devices, which is rare for us, for the schools, then you got the folders just for storage of things, system reports, templates, and the information about any workstations you may have, workstation 1 and 2. And you get into alarm enrollments and devices. I'm not sure what the device is, but event notifications, folders, and list views. You got list views that are the default list views that come with Continuum, which is a whole bunch of them. And there is a video on list views that you should check out. We don't use the default one so much. The network, if you want to look, want to know what's going on with the network. And the bottom one is the user, so who is involved, who has access to your computer, to this system. So in a nutshell, that's how that works. Just for quick, if you want to add a user, you would go down to the user, go into this white field, do a right click, click new user, type in a name, create it, and you can just put just info here, just whoever it might be. It's not really necessary. The password is necessary. We'll put password just for this one. You don't have to put the social security number or anything else. The security, the only thing you'll change on this one is the graphic, and typically you'll use the main graphic. Let me go back and show you the graphic. Choose this network view, go to Hacker Valley, school name, and just choose I don't have a main one here. Let's see where it is. You can choose one of those. that assign that when he logs on, you can put that there. The other thing you can do is go to a existing user, just kind of highlight that from an existing user and to copy that. Then you can create your new user. And password, whatever you want it to be. Security, you want him to go to this graphic, and there you just do a right click and paste. That way he's going to the same graphic that everybody else goes to. Inactivity timer, if somebody logs on here and they go away from the keyboard for we'll put this user for 15 minutes. If he goes away for 15 minutes and no activity on the keyboard, it logs him off. Okay. The group, typically it's going to be group 1. That allows him into everything. If you need to limit people to different things, then we'll have to, that's kind of more of an advanced part of this. But if you you can set other groups up, group 1, 2, 3, 4, for less administrative rights on each of the lower groups, and you can limit them to certain functions, reloading, just view only, whatever you want them to do. But group 1 is administrative level, allows you to do anything. So once you do that, push apply or OK. Puts the new user up here. So whenever the new user logs on, it'll keep track of what he does, what he changes, and all that. It keeps track of all the users like that. Okay. So that is just the general stuff for the Explorer. If we start going to the top under the network folder, if we open that up by clicking on the plus sign, left click, this shows you the school. This is actually Hacker Valley. They didn't change the name to Hacker Valley. They just left it default to Infinity One. Most counties will have this as their county name and the specific school name, and you can do it either way. But under there, you can, like, this is your actual net controller, net controller 1, net controller 2, whichever it is. If you do a right click and edit that, that gives you information about this unit. It tells you that it's for Webster County Elementary, or Hacker Valley. It's online. It's this type of controller. This is a serial number. Don't do a lot of stuff here unless you really know what you're doing, because this is not the place to be making mistakes. But just going through the tabs, you can see what you see. These are your IP addresses, your typically static IP addresses. And then finally your options of what this thing can do. On this one, you can have up to 32 devices, net controllers or whatever. If you got a bigger site, it'll be 64 or 127 or 16 or 8, I think you can go down to. So there's the information about that, and that's where you find it. If you open up the school, under the school are all your Infinite controllers. Each one of these are your field devices. You can do the same thing on any of these. Do a right click, edit these, and it'll give you some information about these units. You can tell you, it doesn't really give you a description. It's an option that you can put in there or not. You say controls office area, whatever, just so you know it's not necessary. Just gives people information. Status is online, so it's communicating. COM port, that tells you what COM port it's on. There's no default folder. Some of this is not necessary. Runtime. If you click runtime, that tells you the serial number of the unit, the version number, and just some things. If you push reset, that clears everything. You don't really want to do that unless you are moving it to somewhere else. Security level doesn't do anything that I know of. I'm sure it does something, I just don't know about it. So each one of those has that information, and under each one of those it has a bunch of stuff. These folders are going to be standard under each. Group is where your trends are going to be kept for, you know, for historical values and such. Date, time, if that's used for your schedules typically. Functions, that's for programming. What you'll use a lot are maybe the inputs. Here are your inputs for that one controller. If you want to know what these are, it doesn't bring up a value here, but if you come over in this white space and push the right mouse button and view, it will bring up a list view of the live values for those inputs. And you can sit there and watch them and just look at them if you're diagnosing something. So, and if you need to change things, you can on this screen as well. Just highlight something, disable it, that'll change to disabled. Then you can edit it, change it to something else, push apply or OK. Now you're going to lie to it and say it's 78 degrees. It's disabled, so it's going to stay that way unless you release it at some point. So if you change it and you're trying to make something happen, you need to make sure you change it back. So we'll re-enable that one. Okay. I'll go back to enable state. Close that. So there's the inputs. Next folder down is the numerics. That's all the non-physical points on a controller. The set points, the occupied, just points that are used in programming that are not inputs or outputs actually. Same thing here. You can come and do in this white area, just do a right click on the mouse, do a view, and it'll bring up all these live values. And you can change anything of these, again, same way. Let's see what we can change. Let's see, night heating set point. We want to change that. Go highlight it, edit it, change it to 61. Apply, OK. And that changes. It should change. It may change. Well, the program must have. If a program has control of it, you have to disable it. So if we disable it, that'll change to disabled. Here in a second. Now if we change it, it should now go to 61 degrees. Sit there and watch. There it changed to 61 degrees. So then if you're looking at stuff and you're trying to see if things work by changing these values, that's how you do it. That's like lying to it and saying, hey, you are this, no matter what else is going on. So we'll put that back. Got to remember to put these things back. We'll go back to enabled. Should go back to 62 enabled. There it is. Okay. So there's all the numerics. Next thing down is the outputs. Same thing with these. If you come over in view, it'll give you a list view of on, off, and what their values are. You can disable and enable the edit these, and they'll do whatever you tell it to do. Programs. You get a little further advanced into this. This is a good thing. Here's all the programs that are operating the input or outputs for this controller. If you come over here and do a right click and view, what this is going to tell you is the current line, whether it's enabled or active or what. This tells you a lot of good information. If you were to open these programs, these are line names, and this is where the program is currently setting. So in the fan, let's see, fan control, if we open that program, it's going to be on the supply fan on line. That's where it's going to be. The program is active, it is enabled, and it has been on that line. These are timers. It has been on this line for 8 hours or 511 minutes or that many seconds. These are all equal. So it went out in increments of 60, I guess. So it's been that way for 8 hours. So when it started this morning, it's not gone off of there for the last 8 hours. So that's a good diagnostic tool. You can see that this program, heat cool program, it's making decisions. It's going off different lines, which it probably should. It's only been on this line for 1 minute, 73 seconds. And when it changes to a different line on the program, the timer is going to reset. So that's a good diagnostic tool. You'll know that it's changing values for some reason or not. If your fan was doing this, that would not be a good thing. But since your heating and cooling is doing that, it does modulate and change. So that's a good thing. So that's just the looping. I just tell you what type of program it is. Alright, what else is on here? Strings you don't really typically use. The system variables, that just gives you what the system variables are for the controller. Maybe the date may be important to you. Click on the date. Is that current or not? For me it is 3:42. That time is 2:34. So something on that system is not right. And the schedules, if this unit is associated with a schedule, it'll typically be down there. If you execute this schedule, double click on it, it'll bring up the schedule for that. If you change it, that unit will probably follow this schedule. So probably one of the main things you'll use from this Explorer mode. So one thing you can use, if you come down here to under the school name, if you go straight down that line and you come to the system variable, and you want to make sure that the date is correct. Let's see if the date's correct here. Date is the 18th. It is 2/3/39 actually. So if you want to change the time, you'll change it 3 39. This one's an hour off. Push apply. That's how you would change the time or the date for like daylight savings time if it wasn't correct. So again, if you go to the date under the school, Infinity System variable, you'll edit it. You'll come here and make any changes to there. That will push all those dates to the little controllers below there. Okay. Sometimes these have graphics associated with them. Let's see if I can find one with a graphic. But you can see the same names are over each one of these. Sometimes these have a graphic under them, and it will have all the graphics for that unit there, and you can start there and click on a graphic, and it'll take you to the graphic for that. And we'll get to graphics here at some point. Go back to Explorer. So those are the neat things about the Explorer mode. And you don't have to close all these, collapse them if you don't need to. There's a lot of things here, and once you get more advanced with this, it has more meaning for you. But for diagnostics sakes, you can go to any of these, go to the outputs, and disable these, turn them on, turn them off. Same as with the graphic. It's just a little more quick if you want to get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of it. So let me know what you think about this stuff. If there's something, any questions, let me know. I'm Ken Ugert from West Virginia Department of Education, and see you in the next graphic or video. Thanks. Bye.